Campbells Comments New Zealand, I'm going to call this show, I suppose. I don't know exactly what I'm going to call it. Might have to give it a name. Cam Bray joins me all the way from New Zealand. Firstly, mate, hello.
G'day, mate. You can call yourself Paul the Kiwi.
Half-bred. I can be a half-bred.
Half-bred, yeah, the half-bred.
I recently went across to New Zealand for the weanling sales and had a ball, and I was pretty rapt with the, I suppose, the response Campbell's Comments had. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of a regular catch up with a lot of the Kiwi guys as we go along, and the likes. There's no sponsorship, nothing done yet. There can be going forward, but just going to try something very different. And thought I'd better start off with the head man from NZB, Cam Bray. How's that sound?
It sounds good. Yeah, keep you on for a bit longer.
Andrew and James might have second thoughts on that.
The head shit kicker.
Mate, firstly, the weanling sales was something I wasn't sure what to expect when I went over there, and I'm trying to encourage a lot of people to clear their diary, especially with the time of the year, because most of our yearling sales are done and the likes. It's not a bad time of year to get away to New Zealand. You guys say about how bad the weather was. The weather was sensational over there at the time, and it's just something very unique, I think, unique to New Zealand and how it actually works, those weanling sales.
Yeah, no, they're great, and they've been a great tool probably for our vendors too, you know, our two big vendors, I should say, with Woodland Stud and Alavar, because it's given them an opportunity to probably market, you know, horses by younger stallions, you know, trying to get them started, get them out to the marketplace. So when you do come to yearling sale time, someone's, you know, got one and they've fallen in love with it in their paddock, or they've started to break it in or whatever. And it's worked really well. And as for like the statistics of this sale have been tremendous, really. Like I think we originally, at the close of selling on the day, we finished up at 92% clearance rate. Well, that's risen now to 96% clearance rate, which is, you know, huge for any sort of bloodstock sale, with an average of just under 11,000. So, you know, I mean, like, it's pretty good with the top of 36,000. So it's we're really happy, really pleased. We're over $1 million in turnover, so beautiful. And
it was a different day, wasn't it? Like I was there. I think I got there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday there was a good turnout, and then then you saw the change of how yearling sales may look now going forward, because you'd have to say there was a sparse turnout on the Monday when the sale was actually on, wouldn't you? Like, that was a little bit concerning initially, seeing lack of people there.
Well, probably you're right in some respects, and to be fair, this same sale last year was done on we held with Campbell House, our subsidiary online business, and we probably weren't too sure what was going to happen. You know, and I did it. Particularly myself, I looked and inspected a heap of horses for a number of different people in Australia, and I knew none of those were coming. And I thought, well, I'm okay, because I've got, you know, if things do hit the fan, I've got a lot of colts, a lot of fillies covered. And as it turned out, a lot of those guys missed out because of the way the sale went. Just shows you that probably they can come to the sales with a bit more value. They seem to buy a wee bit more volume. Like, I think our biggest buyer was a guy here, Bruce Negus, who some of you guys over there may know as he was a trainer of Courage Under Fire early doors. And he bought 15 in the end. He did it 3 years ago and found it to be a reasonable success. I'd probably say he wouldn't have. They all didn't turn out to be cut class horses, but like he's managed to get out of it, and he's now going through the motion again. So that's all good stuff, you know, as far as we're concerned.
I sat in a box that I was alluded to that was going to be pretty quiet, and I think I had 5 very astute Kiwis. If they're watching this, they might have trouble sort of standing up. All of a sudden, their head might have got a little bit bigger. But the comment was made that they were selling a lot dearer than what they were expecting, and you know, they had to change their thought process halfway through the sale.
Yeah, I love the sound of that.
Which part, the astute businessman, or?
Oh no, not about you. No, the fact that they're selling for more money. You know, that's ultimately that's what that's what we're all about here. It shows that our industry is in good faith, a good place. The COVID probably upturn in sales has continued to carry on. Look, as far as clearance rates are concerned, that just bringing in new people into the industry, it's positive, and it's a great way for guys to get into the industry through their trainers or people they know, and they don't have to. As I say, the average being $10,000 odd, you don't have to outlay a lot of money. You do have to wait that wee bit longer, but you know what I mean. I couldn't fault the sale myself. It's great. The vendors are very realistic. We've seen some nice money for some nice horses, and what could be worse, than a Monday afternoon in Auckland.
We had a little bit of overseas interest too, but not from the normal pathway, I suppose, if you like. We had a Chinese contingent or gentleman buy one horse, and always be Mickey Weanling, that sort of flew under the radar a little bit, and I've tried to do a little bit of back research, but we're going to leave it to you because of probably a lack of, I suppose, English knowledge, if that's the best way for doing an interview. Yeah,
so we have a Chinese representative for our thoroughbred business, and Alex Ting, who lives in Auckland. Great guy, Alex, does a great job for us. And he, through his connections, has got onto an individual who is interested in harness racing. They do have some sort of harness, or this is probably not harness, it's more sort of Monty's up there. And he's a guy that's keen to progress that. That there is a bit of talk that they may get the equine flights going again into China. Currently they don't. But he also has seen the opportunity where they had in the past possibly have bought racehorses and spent $20,000 to buy a reasonably low-end racehorse, where they've sort of said, well, we can go to a breeding stock sale like this, weaning sale, and we can buy two for the same price as one racehorse, and we've got a fair opportunity to get a nice enough sort of horse. So they'll background that horse down here in New Zealand before it then goes up to China.
Yeah. And it will be Monty ridden. This is a unique part about it. Is a pacing bred. It was by Always Be Mickey. I think from memory they paid the average, didn't they? 11,000, I think.
Something like that. From the top of my head. Well, they sold very well. The Always Be Mickeys, didn't they?
Yeah, and I thought they were taking the Mickey actually, but they were saying no, they will be. They don't have the carts. They actually they'll ride them in hobbles.
Ride them in the hobbles and sort of I won't say hock deep sand, but sort of. Goes a fair way. They go a fair way into the sand, sort of sand. I think actually they might have turf there now, but pretty ordinary turf.
I'll have to do some more research on this. I think Campbell's Comments might have to get a junket to go to China and do a story on it.
The eye opener.
I think it will be too, mate.
And we've had guys from here, Pete. Peter Logan, who used to work with us and who you know well.
Yep.
He's been up once, if not a couple of times, I think. They did have a lot of trouble up there. That they really didn't have anyone sort of up there that knew how to train them. And the area or the region, province, whatever you want to call it, in China that they go to is a pretty inhospitable sort of place, sort of more in Mongolia, where they get mid 40 degrees in the summer, and then they get sort of mid negative bloody 20s in the wintertime.
Bit like where I live. It is. Yeah. All right. Well, I might have to actually think about that, mate. NZB, you guys wear lots of hats, and you're not the spokespeople, I suppose, for New Zealand harness racing, but you'll have more sales coming up. Your yearling sales are back in February next year, but you've got a couple more sales coming through.
We will try to. I say try to because it's still in the early conceptions, but I'm trying my best to get a sort of 2-year-old training sale up and going. I temper that with 2-year-old in training sale rather than a ready-to-run sale. I think there's a desire here in New Zealand that to be a sustainable model going forward, we really need them to be in training rather than ready-to-race type horse. Because the days of them having them stretched out like a Shanghai has proven that it's an unsustainable model here in New Zealand. You end up with the horses go the quickest, make the money, and no one else wants the rest of So I think, and it's about how the horse is doing it rather than how fast he's doing it. You know what I mean? We're just trying to change the mindset slightly on that. Gives the younger guy an opportunity to get into the market and sell a horse, and it gives our guys in probably the middle to lower end of our yearling sale market an opportunity or another market to possibly sell out again. You know,
it's one of the things I'm big on, being able to. It sounds course in a way, but turn a horse over 3 or 4 times. But all honestly, buy it at the weanling sales, send it through the yearling sales, and then potentially even put it through a ready to run sale. And you can have young people being able to buy in young at a weanling sale, take a punt, either sell it at the yearling sales, don't get what they want, or they do, and they can on-sell it. And if they don't get what they want, they've still got another third option of being able to potentially move that horse on in about a year and a half's time.
Yeah, exactly, and it's something that when you think about it, I know you guys have done it with Nutrien Equine over there, and it worked reasonably well. We've got to create that market again. That's something we don't have with the standardbred market. You sort of have your yearling, and then tried horse markets. But if you have a sort of middle or bottom end weanling yearling, what do? You get stuck with it at the yearling sales, and you possibly want to get it broken in and get it going, but you don't want to race it, you can't afford to race it, or whatever. We need to provide a market there for guys to trade horses and trade, because at the end of the day, we're trading, we're turning money over, we're keeping people, keeping jobs going, keeping everything going.
Absolutely. Harness Millions, it's on at the minute, mate. Good story with Cover Girl and Bobby Butt taking it out the other day. A lot of the Aussies will know Bobby Butt, but he's done a good job over in New Zealand. He trains down the South Island, doesn't he?
Trains in the South Island out at Woodend Beach, just north of the city here out on the beach. He does a good job, Bobby. He doesn't have a huge team, but by God, he's had some success in a reasonably short time here training at his own account. Yeah,
and we ran into him when I was over there with you, with the first place we went to. And we saw him there, and his confidence level wasn't anything high, was it?
No, no higher than it would normally be for Bobby.
I found him a bit reserved. I thought he might have been a little bit more pumped up. But that was a week out, so he might have built up to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, like it's a nice filly too, out of a nice family. It's bred like a rock star. It was a $95,000 yearling sale purchase, out of the Black Watch family.
Yep.
Which, if you remember, that's a great old family for Sandy and Jan Yarnley, who used to be the proprietors of what now is Brecon Farms.
All right.
Yeah, so they originally had Brecon, it was Yarnley Farms then, and then Ken obviously bought the property, and they've wound operations back a wee bit, and this is one of the fillies out of Salsa Vie, so.
Yeah.
I can't remember. If you ask me who she's out of, I'd have to go and look it up.
Which is what you're trying to do, and you can't do that and talk to me at the same time. You have no chance. And there's some good owners in that horse too, isn't there? There's a couple of cricketers that can hit an underarm ball okay.
Yeah, Baz McCallum, who some people will know, ex-New Zealand cricket captain. So like on Twitter, it blew up on Twitter because our CEO, Andrew Seabrook, is great mates with Baz McCallum, had tweeted out that he was in the ownership, and Baz obviously ultimately replied. He's ended up with about 400 odd Indians liking his tweet, because he's a superstar in the IPL. So a great result all round, really.
Andrew,
great way to turn $95,000 yearling and $150,000 race.
Yeah, and there was a couple other results just over the weekend. Highgrove won the 2-year-old trotters.
Yeah. We had the 2-year-old trot, so Highgrove, it won it. It was a $34,000 purchase for Kevin Townley, put that through the sales. And I don't know if you've seen, Kevin Townley was the horseman, unfortunately, was involved in an incident here at Rangiora it might have been a bit long there, 3 or 4 weeks ago now. He come a gutser and ended up having reasonably significant injuries. He spent a bit of time in hospital, had a hip replacement, bits and pieces. And so it's a good result for him as a breeder. And Robert and John Dunn bought that, Diamond Racing, paid $34,000. That's gone on now and won a $75,000 listed 2-year-old race.
They've really stepped up their I suppose, presence in New Zealand harness racing, Dunns, haven't they?
Well, I suppose success breeds success, doesn't it? And it's great especially high grade, is great for them because it's the Newman family who have been great supporters of Robert and John for a number of years. So it's a real pleasure to see them get a nice horse.
Yep. And the other one, and I'm not even going to try and say its name because I've done it twice and got my tongue twisted around it both times.
Akuta is he won the 2-year-old Colts and Geldings race. So it's again, it's well bred. Feathers Delight out of a mare called A Door to Our Dreams, which was Paul Renwick, one of our big clients here in the South Island, Renwick Farms, put through. It was a $170,000 yearling. It was bought by All Stars Racing, and subsequently Ian Dobson's taken the ownership of that horse. So Ian Dobson, who some may or may not know, he was Cullen breeding, so he owned Christian Cullen. So he's found himself another nice horse, and ultimately that was a $200,000 listed race. It was.
He doesn't mind racing horses down here in Australia too, so that horse might make its way down here. Luke McCarthy gets a lot of horses for him.
Yeah, no, great owner. He's we're pleased to have him buy at our sales. It's great. He sometimes will skip a few years or bits and pieces, but he's got himself a nice one.
Yeah, which is key, and it's good to keep these horses racing around. It's something that I'm going to try and do with this show is just, as I said, keep it regular and try and keep a bit more information coming back here, and maybe some of the Kiwis watching it might turn around and learn something off us as well. Cam, you never know. That'd be one of those interesting things.
That'd be scary. Wouldn't it?
Mate, I did an interview yesterday with Kath McIntosh from Northern Rivers Equine, and she's starting to make her presence felt a little bit more in the breeding scene as well, which is good and exciting, I think. And she's brought on a gentleman very well to be her sales rep or service rep in New Zealand, in Cam Kirkwood. And that announcement was made last week, and the interview I've done with Kath and Cam probably go up in a couple of days after this one.
Yeah, no, Cameron, a young guy here, actually had quite a bit of birth. Cameron, he bid spots for us at the yearling sales here in Christchurch for us. Great guy, very keen, very passionate about the trotter, which is quite fitting for his new role with Pastor Stephen coming on board. So he'll be into that like a gum digger's dog. It's just good to see a young guy who's passionate about the gun getting into the industry and getting into that side of it, because it's probably something we don't historically see a lot of, probably in both countries. Yeah,
I think he fits very well with Northern Rivers, what they're trying to achieve, because it's a young stud. And it just keeps evolving. I remember last year Kath saying that she announced John Coffey on as a bloodstock agent, and I'm thinking, well, she's getting busy enough now. She had 7 stallions standing, or she's got 7 stallions standing plus the frozen semen for Bacardi Lindy, and now with Cam taking up New Zealand, that's going to make it busier again. That's Poster Boy and Pastor Stevens are both going to be looked after, over there by Cam, but she also has American Ideal and Lather Up that will be looked after in New Zealand, obviously by Woodland Stud, but they all run under the same umbrella. So she's starting to put a big foothold in both Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, it's great, really, and she's such a passionate operator. We've had quite a bit to do with Kath over the time, and she's very enthusiastic, very good for the industry. For both sides of the Tasman. I wish her all the best, and Cam too. It's a marketplace that's it's the growth area here in New Zealand as a trotter, much the same as probably Australia, where it's a worldwide breed, really, the trotter. For what my perspective in the yearling sales is that we have some of the best genetics in the world available to us here, and our trotters have come a long way, and will be able to go a hell of a lot further in a short space of time. And very exciting times for the trotting breeder.
It is indeed, and he's a world-class horse. He's up there with, he's a full brother to Father Patrick, Pastor Stephen.
Correct.
Very well-performed horse as well. And the fact that he's going to be...
Left some pretty good horses up in Sweden, France too, by the sound of it, from limited opportunities to date, so which is good.
Yep, and he'll be chilled semen because he'll be residing at Northern Rivers in Golden Valley, so that's going to be key. The idea I want to do with this show, Cam, and like I say, been continuing on, is the fact that I had a lot of studs over there get behind me to help promote their yearlings going forward, and I suppose, continue that on if that makes sense, like to be able to raise awareness. So I'm sort of going to put it back, like Brecon Farms, I'll be in trouble actually. I have to put his hat on. I'll have to put his hat on over the top just for a second. Brecon Farms, Woodland Stud, and all the boys down at Southern Red, all the boys, I'll be in trouble straight away, and ladies at Southern Red. I want them to be able to use this platform year round, not just necessarily when they've got yearling sales on it and the likes. And that's one of the things we're going to try and do is we'll have other guests come on. I might do a show with other people and the likes, but just try and change it up a little bit and I'll try and get that word out there, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I put it this way, we put a lot of emphasis on the pre-sale, that short window between Christmas and actual sale, but what we forget is that our horses race pretty much 12 months of the year, and Kiwi-bred horses win races throughout Australasia and Northern Hemisphere, for that argument, up in North America, every week of the year. So it's something that as a business for us and as for breeders, that we need to continue pushing that barrier, because we have a great product down here in this part of the world, and why not stand up and shout from the rooftops about it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the likes, you've got Katie Price, those people, they've got world-class horses and they sell for good money. But the interview I did with her after that sale, it was so well received. Like, people learnt so much more about these people, and there's so many great stories out there. And I think that can only help sell horses. Like, I can tell you guys, about Kath McIntosh, because I do a lot of work with her. There's so many studs here in Australia that I do so much work with that, that are really, really good. But it's a reverse there in New Zealand. But a lot of the Aussies don't know about them, and just trying to get that word out there.
Well, and it's only a 3-hour plane ride between us.
Yep.
You know what I mean? As you say, like, it's quicker to get to you than it is for you to go to Perth. It is a small industry, and someone knows someone. That's the one thing I'm big on, is that it doesn't matter who you're dealing with, because I could be dealing with you and you might deal with somebody else that knows me. And, there's a hell of a lot of people that I seem to talk to that seem to have words to say about you. Not all of them great, but no.
It's the last interview you're getting.
But at the end of the day, it's a small industry, really. Australasian wide, it is a small industry, and we do, the Kiwis race a lot of horses over there, and vice versa. So it's all good.
Yep, and I think we need to be able to promote it and go forward. So I'm encouraging studs to get in touch with us and go forward, and we can try and do little things that could end up being big things and go from there. So as I said, it's just basically Campbell's Comments New Zealand show at the minute. If it ends up, someone wants to take naming rights or whatever and give it a name, whatever, they can do that. That's fine, but we'll work with it at the minute this way. Have you had a?
So we can't call this on loose lines. You've kicked Toby and Daniel to touch. Are we taking over that mantle? What's the story there?
No. I am looking to try and get it back up and going. It's just we used to record it on a Sunday night, and I just didn't have any family time at all. So then we have this toing and froing through a messenger feed that we basically start on a Monday, and by the time we get around to it, it's Friday, and it's like, yep, right out, we'll try again for next week. So we're just going to try and work a few things out and go from there. The boys do it voluntarily, so that's one of the things I'm always conscious of. But it's a bit of a
good. That's good though.
It is a juggle, and it's not off the radar. I do know we'll be all together this Sunday coming. Actually, there's a big breast cancer awareness day here in Victoria at Shepparton, and all three of us will be there. So there's every chance there'll be a live record after that day, which will be a bit of fun as well. So, and we might get Donna Castles and those guys to come on with us as well, and just promote what a good day that is. But yeah, and get back together. Yeah, no, we definitely want to do the show. It's just Toby's very tied up with SEN. Daniel does a lot of calling, and just trying to juggle it all together makes it a little bit hard. So it'll go again. There's no worries there. It's a bit of fun. So that's all it is. And this one's probably a little bit more serious, but who knows where it'll end up anyway. It could end up anywhere, couldn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We could
get thousands of dollars.
We might end up. Well, if NZB came on, we could get James to come on and do his craft beer weekly, promotional shot, because that's about all you get on his Instagram account.
He hasn't got a problem at all.
No, he hasn't at all. All right, mate. Thank you. as I said, it's Campbell's Comments New Zealand show. Next week we'll probably catch up again. I'll try and get Cam Kirkwood to join us as well, and we can have a bit of a chat about how he's finding his role and what's going on, because he also wears another hat, doesn't he? He actually works for Harness Racing New Zealand as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he actually works in the same building here as I do, because our offices here at Harness Racing New Zealand as well, here in Christchurch. So he does wear two hats. Well, actually wears three hats, but I think at the weekends he's out with spends a lot of time with Regan Todd and his stable out at William Beach as well. So he's not scared of work as young Cam. So wish him all the best.
Yeah, Regan might have been one of those guys up in the box with me. I'm not sure. All right, mate. I'll let you go. But thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to making this show. We'll grow it a little bit as the Kiwis start giving us a bit more information, mate.
All right, mate. You know, Kiwis won't give you too much, though. You know that.
Yeah, I do. Thanks, mate.
See you later.